This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Ring. The battle continues in the ring. Robert Gibson leading the contingent. Morton has him wrapped up. 1, 2, 3. Flair took a tumble over the top turnbuckle. The splash on the Morton. Morton turns him over. Robert Gibson gets Arn Anderson. 1, 2, 3. Robert Gibson counted it. Drop kick Arn Anderson away. And Robert Gibson counted what you saw was a pin right here on the Superstation. Right here on the Superstation. We'll take a look once again and watch this in instant replay. Flair with a gigantic splash. Flipped right over.
Right there for 3 counts. Brother Eddie Pin, I'm diving right in. 1, 2, 3. Ric Flair, you're a beaten man.
Robert Gibson said it. There's the pin. Dusty Rhodes has joined us. Dusty Rhodes and Baby Doll here with a Rock and Roll Express.
I told you people to do it, and I did it just for you, baby. That's right. Let me tell you something. You know, Ric Flair comes out here week in and week out, shooting his mouth off, talking about what he's going to do, jumping in everybody's face. This right here is an example, Ric Flair, of what goes down. Every time you challenge Dusty Rhodes, Ronnie Garvin, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, McIntyre, every time you wind up in the middle of the ring, flat on your... That's where you wind up. That's where you wind up. It does my heart good. Ric Flair, you won't make it to New Orleans. Robert, this is my main man, but let me tell you something. Get him ready. Because it's going to be me and him in New Orleans for that world title. That's right. You sure got that right, Tony. I told you Ric Flair I could beat you. And I'm going to do it again, baby. The new world's champion.
And you saw it right here on the Superstation. You better not go away.
Place to Be Nation Wrestling. Welcome to NWA Crock and Roll, episode number 38, where we are continuing our journey through April. We are going to look at April 12th, 1986. So this is part 2 of our April Watch. I am your host, Sean Kidd. And as always, I am joined by my other horsemen, so to speak. So up first, Dr. G, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, and wow, we got a busy April. I think you mentioned on the last episode, it's probably going to be one of the busiest months we ever have, and I think you're right. It's definitely stuff is picking up as we head into the Crockett Cup.
Yeah, that last episode, there was a lot of stuff that happened in like a 2-day span, and just all good stuff, though. I mean, just unbelievable start to April, so I'm looking forward to talking about tonight. Also joining us tonight, Colin McDougall. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Sean. I'm good, thank you. Very, very exciting stuff. You know, the last episode was action-packed. I think towards the end we were struggling to find. We've had so much. We were struggling to find award winners. So I'm thinking tonight might be along the same lines. Yeah,
we'll see as we get to the end. I mean, it's it's when you have a hard time figuring out the end of the show awards that there's a lot of great stuff going on. So one of the main reasons why I'm enjoying doing this, this is like the hot time for Crockett. This is right around the time where it just started blowing up. So 86 is a great month, great year, I should say. And last but not least, Scott Shiflett. How are you tonight?
I'm glad to be here talking about one of the hottest point of times in Crockett is March maybe to like July of '86, and we are in the thick of it right now, and it's just amazing wrestling, amazing promos, and I'm so happy that I get to do it with these three other fine gentlemen here.
Well, thank you for that. That was very nice of you to say, Mr. Shiflett.
It was.
I have my moments.
You do. You surprise me sometimes. All right. So with that, we're going to start off. Like I said, we're going to do April 12th, 1986, and do our champions rundown. Your world champion is Ric Flair, United States champion Magnum TA, your TV champion Arn Anderson, your national champion Tully Blanchard, Mid-Atlantic champion Black Bart. Our tag team champions are still the Midnight Express. The six-man champions, the Russians and Baron von Raschke. We actually get a very rare six-man tag team title match tonight, which we have not had in forever, so that'll be interesting to talk about. And our junior heavyweight champion is Denny Brown. So we are going to our first match, and this one was a shocker, guys. So as you know, I do some pretty deep research, try to get as much detail on Crockett, on the time frames we're covering. This one shocked me. This is from April 12th, 1986. It is from Japan, and it is the return of Ole Anderson versus Tenryu. And we have not seen Ole in months. The last time we saw him was when he got attacked by Dusty. They had to vacate the national tag team titles, and Ole has not been seen or heard on TV since. Well, I guess he's doing okay because here he is in Japan in April. So big shocker here. I'll let you guys talk about that after I talk about the match. So this is Ole versus Tenryu. So Ole opens up, of course, working the arm. Ole with stiff kicks to Tenryu, tosses him outside, and throws him shoulder first into the ring post. There's a big brawl in the middle of the ring. Tenryu hits a slam and a top rope backwards elbow to the head that I thought looked really good. Ole kicks out at 2. Tenryu then hits a power bomb before it was actually called a power bomb for 3. So interesting to see Ole Anderson take a power bomb. This match was only 3.5 minutes, but it was 3.5 minutes of Ole being Ole, and about what I wanted and what I expected. Pretty stiff. Probably could have been longer, but it was pretty short. Ole is just a mean son of a bitch, and it was good to see Ole Anderson back. And it makes me miss him and Arn together as a team. And unfortunately, guys, he doesn't return to Crockett still for another 2 months. So this one-off in Japan was really, really interesting to me. I went 2 stars on it. I could have gone 2 1/4, but it was just so short. But it just gave me a little piece of Ole back that I've been missing, and I look forward to when he returns to Crockett. So, Dr. G, what did you think of this? One, Ole showing up in Japan, and then 2, the 3.5 minute match.
Well, yeah, Ole showing up in Japan. I didn't, would have known that probably back in those days, and because he was taking the time off, so it was nice to see him. He really wrestled with a vicious streak in him. I mean, he has that way, but he really brings it out in Japan. I wish the match would have been a little longer myself, to be honest with you, but I mean, nothing. You couldn't go 3 stars on it. You know what I'm saying? Nope. I think you had. It's fair to go 2 stars because it wasn't horrendous, but it wasn't long enough to be great. If that makes any sense.
So how many stars did you go on this one?
2. 2, just like
that. I think that's fair. But yeah, Ole, just a mean son of a bitch. I just absolutely just love me some Ole Anderson. Colin, what did you think of this?
I thought if anyone was to be suited for wrestling in Japan, it would be Ole Anderson, because I think he's just so he fits in so well with just grinding people down and just like battering them really. I think it shocks me that he didn't do more in Japan. From doing some very basic research on it, he had 2. This was his first match in Japan since 1973. So he only
there goes the McDougal research. I did not know that. Yeah.
So he does this tour for the Champion Carnival tournament tour, and then that's it. He does not do. It's the first time he's been in Japan in over a decade, when he was just a young pup, and he never goes back to Japan after this tour.
Could you imagine Arn and freaking Ole tagging in Japan? Could you imagine how great?
They'd be killing people.
Holy shit!
Oh,
Jesus!
A missed opportunity. He obviously must have. I take it must be because he's got commitments in the States that he can't do. He can't do big long Japanese tours 2, 3, 4 times a year. But even the occasional, just when Flair goes over to do his 1-shot, 2-shot deals, take Ole with him, because there's nobody more suited to Japanese wrestling, I don't think, than a guy who's just there to beat people up. The powerbomb that you're talking about, I mean, that's less of a powerbomb, more attempted murder. That was absolutely sick. That was disgusting.
Like, could you imagine Ole Anderson taking a power bomb? I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I would have saw that.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a pile driver, and then I think at one point Tenru just went like that, no, fuck it, you're taking it.
Take it, you old bastard.
Yeah, you are taking this powerbomb whether you like it or not. But no, I thought it was really good. I've liked the Japanese matches more than most over the course of this podcast history. But no, I thought this was a very decent one as well. I've gone 2 1/4 on it. I mean, it was difficult to rate because it was so short. And that's my only gripe about this match, is it was so short. But no, I thought for what it was, I thought it was an excellent wee sprint.
Yeah, give me about 10 to 12 minutes, and I probably would have gone. I kind of could have easily gone over 3 just seeing these two beat the shit out of each other. But yeah, I agree with you. Shiflet, what'd you think?
Well, Sean, you probably know I overstart this match.
Well, yeah, because I know you like the stiff shit like I do. So. Yeah,
Ole's just a bastard. There's no other way around it. He's just a bastard. He's chopping the hell out of Tenru. He even hits him with the chair, which these aren't like the normal chairs that we have now. This looks like one that really hurt. I'm not saying the chairs now don't hurt, but damn. I love how Ole loves working an arm. He's working an arm bar at the very beginning. He's working it here multiple times. And it really, it really comes out of nowhere, the ending of this. Like, Tenru hits an enziguri, and then elbow drops Ole in the head, and then like the power bomb, and that's it.
Well, you know what? That's actually true. Like I guess I didn't sell enough the just sudden editing that came out of nowhere. So you're spot on with that.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, okay. Like I thought it was clipped or something, but no, I went 2 3/4. Like these guys, like Ole's just being a bastard, and and Tenru is giving it back. I guess the winner list gets added to the 1994 Royal Rumble, so that's why Tenru had to go over.
Oh, you're talking about in '86. This was for the Royal Rumble spot in '94. That's nice. Okay.
So I guess Tenru had to go over because Ole, him and McMahon hate each other.
Well, yeah. So at the end of the day, this was a nice, cool little gem of a find. I had no idea it even existed. But yeah, really cool to see. I wish we could have got 10 to 15 minutes of this, and it probably would have been a fantastic, even better match. But yeah, good to see Ole back. Unfortunately, guys, we got to wait a few more months before we actually see him back in Crockett, so we won't see him for a while. So it was nice to get a little taste because we haven't seen him in roughly been about 4 months. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we are going to move to the Saturday night show on April the 12th. And we have a segment from Tully and Ron Garvin to follow up on our last episode with Tully beating up Garvin's hand with his shoe. So Tully's out and he discusses the Garvin incident. Garvin's hand has been taped. He says Garvin's hand has been taped up and it's in pain. And Ron has guts fighting, not knowing if his hand is broken or not, which I thought was a weird line because he got hit with it a week ago. So did Garvin not go to the doctor? I don't know. I just thought that was weird. He talks about all the benefits of Garvin's fist being taped for Garvin, and it makes it a weapon, which is illegal. Says Ron Garvin should get a cast to wrestle so he can feed his family or however many families he may have, which I thought was a really great line. If the hand is not broken, take the tape off and be a wrestler. He doesn't understand why punching is allowed and it's illegal. By the way, he's not wrong. He tells Ron Garvin to be a man and quit whining. He just says Garvin just wants to get a glove like Dusty did with his boots so he can beat people up. Bottom line is he is the national champ. Flair and Arn are champs, and that's the only thing anyone needs to know. Then we go to Garvin, which to me almost feels a little bit like the Wahoo response that we had on the Garvin promo last episode. Ron comes out with his hand taped, dressed like he had just parked a semi out back. He looks like a trucker. He says he's been a wrestler all his life, and he's used to pain. The hand not broken, he thinks, but it hurts. So again, he thinks it's not broken, but he hasn't been to the doctor. Maybe he's just trying to sell how tough he is. He says the tape is protection. If you don't like it, try to take it off. He says Tully complains, but he is the cause. He committed an act of terror to cripple him. Says he drove his truck around to deal with the situation so he would be cool. So I don't know what that meant. He tells Tully's attack shows no rules. Tully, look out, and all you do, you're fair game anywhere. The attack, they then replay the attack. And then Garvin says he's going to show Tully the right way to use a boot. He's still here and he's still wrestling. So, Colin, I will go to you. What did you think of this Tully and Ron Garvin promo follow-up from our last episode?
I loved Tully's part of it. He was going through the sort of the rules of the rules of professional wrestling. Punch with a closed fist is illegal, and it's almost as if he is saying that he broke Garvin's hand out of the interest of fairness when he's to have a fair wrestling match, almost justifying the fact that he's gravely injured an opponent.
And by the way, Colin, another example of the heel not being wrong.
Exactly. He's by the letter of the law. Garvin is performing. Garvin's finisher is an illegal move, and yeah, so he is absolutely within his right to do that. And if in his mind, if the NWA board of directors aren't going to do anything, or Jim Crockett isn't going to do anything to stop Ron Garvin from doing it, then he'll do it himself. Absolutely excellent storytelling there. I noticed that he called them the three horsemen of professional wrestling. So Ole's already been kicked to the curb by Tully. The Garvin response, saying that Tully committed an act of terror. Not quite, but and people say that wrestling's over the top. I don't know where they get that sort of thing from. Garvin's promo was a lot better than
you're right. It was better, but it was still kind of like I don't know. I thought kind of a lame duck response a little bit. It didn't really bring a lot to it,
I mean, it wasn't great. He wasn't trying to make strange analogies where he's not making love to his opponent, although he did say he's got to watch his back when he comes out the shower. I mean, that's quite threatening. But I mean, it was fine. It was fine. I'm not watching these expecting to have excellent promos from Garvin, but yeah, it was all right.
All right, Scott, what'd you think?
The Tully interview was awesome. I love how he said that Garvin had multiple families. So it's yeah,
that was really good. Hey, you dumb redneck.
So I hope Garvin's wife isn't watching and she'd be like, hey, what the hell is this wrestler doing? Because, we've all heard the story. I mean, look how many times Flair's been married. Mm-hmm. So, they run wild on the road. And I love how Tully even says he's sort of being a star. And it's like, damn, that cuts pretty deep because, no offense, Sean, he isn't on that lower tier, in my opinion, of being a star. And he just...
You can go piss off, Shiflett.
I know. But no, it was great. And Ronnie Garvin, speaking of marble mouth, this one, he has marble mouth as well. But he did have some good lines, like how Callum said, how he was going to take Tully anywhere he's fair game. But he also says that Tully and Arn didn't get the job done. And if I was Tully and Arn, I would be terrified. Because that man is just threatened to kill Tully walking out of the shower.
Well, he did threaten not to make Flair to Ric Flair, but listen, you never know what Garvin is a scary man.
Yes.
What was it that one Arn promo where he talks about basically Garvin's a serial killer? I mean, he's probably not wrong. I mean, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, it was great when he said he was a serial killer. Yes. So no, thank you.
All right, Dr. G, what'd you think of these two promos?
Well, Tully, I agree with you and Scott and Callum. He did a great job here. He's just such a heel. I mean, in everything he says, and he's just one of those guys, kind of like MJF, where you just sort of he's probably an asshole in real life. Oh
yeah, oh sure, absolutely.
That's just the way he comes off. Ronnie Garvin's his response wasn't horrendous. But I would have liked to have seen a little more fire. We've seen some interviews where he's a little more fiery than that. I would have liked to have seen, a better response. I mean, I I like the line of, Tully and Arn didn't get the job done. So maybe he was trying to be more methodical in his response to almost kind of like scare them rather than, sometimes being like that rather than yelling and screaming might work better. But sometimes, like you said, sometimes Ron Garvin just doesn't, his execution isn't always the greatest. And I guess he's just trying to play that common man thing, the way he
that
dresses.
was his biggest downfall, is he couldn't talk. That was his biggest downfall.
Yeah, because I tell you, he wasn't bad in the ring, and when he would speak in little bits where he does have that kind of serial killer way about him, he is kind of intimidating. But you had to keep him in a short moments of speaking where maybe it's 30 seconds, a minute. Actually, he probably would have been a great heel with a manager, with a good talking manager, like a Jim Cornette, that kind of thing.
Well, they tried it in '88, and that didn't last very long because he left. So
yeah.
So,
but no, Tully was Tully. Very rarely do you see a bad promo by him. And Ron Garvin was horrendous, but it wasn't the greatest either.
Yep. But clearly they're heading in that direction with these two and the Fist, and that plays into a big match that'll take place here in the month of May, and some matches that take place in the Bash. So we'll get to those when we get to them. All right, so our second match of the night, a very rare six-man tag team title match with Ivan and Nikita and Baron Von Raschke facing the Italian Stallion, the junior heavyweight champion Denny Brown, and Nelson Royal, who I don't think we've really talked about since the great baby doll stealing Dusty's horse the thing from almost a year ago that we talked about, or 2 years ago that we almost talked about. But so interesting six-man tag team title match. I probably would venture to say that the Stallion, Brown, and Royal were not threats to this, but you know what? I wanted to watch it anyway because we haven't seen this title defended in forever. So first off, I noticed I love Nikita's yellow shirt with him on the front. It actually looks like he went to like an amusement park and had it painted, so spare no expense there, Crockett marketing. The faces look impressive, tagging in and out, working over Ivan. Colin and I were going back and forth in the chat earlier, and he said that Royal looked old. The comment I wrote in my notes is Royal looks like he's 90 years old. He's a very old-looking man.
Yeah, I got 65 in my notes.
Yeah, I went with 90. By the way, Nelson Royal will also be in the Crockett Cup, as he will be teaming, I believe, with Sam Houston. So we'll be seeing Royal again. But Stallion almost slips down when he's doing mounting punches and does a monkey flip to Ivan. Von Raschke gets in and does really bad offense and tags Nikita quickly, who gets a one-arm slam to Brown and a backbreaker. Brown is a good face in peril. Von Raschke hits a legit forward roll. That shocked me because it looked legit like a wrestling maneuver from a man that looked like he's 80 years old. Ivan later hits a nice back suplex and elbows to Nelson, but Nelson puts up a great fight. Stallion tags in and hits a dropkick to Von Raschke, then decides to take on all three heels and hits Nikita with a dropkick, but then charges Nikita and gets hit with a back elbow. Nikita then proceeds to stand Stallion up and clobbers him with a sick sickle for 3, as Nelson Royal and Brown stood on the apron and just basically watched and said, fuck that, because they didn't want any part of that. I thought Ivan was the workhorse in this match. I was really impressed. And honestly, guys, even though I said Royal's old, I bet Ivan Koloff and Nelson Royal could put on a great old school one-on-one. So for what it was a nice little match. I thought it was worked well, and yeah, it might be a bit of a preliminary match, but I actually went 2.25 stars. I actually quite enjoyed this match a bit. So Dr. G, what did you think?
Yeah, I went 2 stars on it. Again, it was nice to see the titles being defended. So that was.
Let me rephrase that. The trophy, the 6-man trophy at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a pretty decent match. Listen, Stallion, Royal, and Brown aren't bad wrestlers. They were used as, what do we say? Good hands.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that's the good thing with the NWA. You'll get, you guys talked about the Mike Jackson match. They have good hands that put on good wrestling matches. So you want to watch them because they're probably going to be halfway decent.
Exactly. And Nelson Royal, I think, was about 50 at this time.
Yeah, I believe it.
50 or 51. So
I believe it.
Because I think we were talking about him on the Saturday special the other day too, and I looked him up, and I think he died in 2002. He was like 66. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we weren't too far off.
Hidden note, you might not know this. If you ever drive to North Carolina, they actually have a place called Nelson Royal's Boots that they advertise. It's a boot store. Now, I don't know if it's at Nelson Royal, but it popped me when I saw it. So,
wow, that's funny.
Yeah, it is pretty funny. But yeah, he's definitely a good hand. And a former junior heavyweight champion in his own right as well. So, all right, Scott, what did you think of this match? Oh, God.
This is the first time yeah, you're not going to like it.
Yeah, go to hell. All right, Colin, what did you think?
Okay.
No, I'm kidding, Scott. Go ahead, Scott.
I didn't like this at all. Ivan like, this is the first time I really thought Ivan looked really old. Maybe it's because he was with one of his counterparts.
He worked the whole damn match.
I know, because Baron von Raschke also looks very old.
Koloff took like monkey flips and shit. Are you kidding me?
The only thing I liked was Nikita did a one-handed power slam, which I thought was amazing. I want a star. I felt this match was basically a squash.
Wow. Colin?
I'm somewhere in between, really. It was a glorified squash. It was a squash that was like new gen era WWF squash, where you would like get guys beating TL Hopper and Freddie Joe Floyd. So guys with a name, but you knew that they weren't going to, they would beat the absolute saps, but they're not going to beat Steve Austin or anything like that. It was fine. I mean, it did what it needed to do. It got the Russians and the makeshift Russian over. I cannot help but think so. Last time we looked at the Paul Jones army of misfits, and Baron von Raschke's there, looking like Baron von Raschke does, older than he does today, with a monocle and looking like an absolute lunatic. And now he's standing here, and we're meant to say that he's on par with the Russians. One of these things is not like the other. Looking at the 6-man tag champs.
Yeah, not the best replacement for even Khrushchev, I would say. Yeah.
I mean, I get him as a replacement, but if you're going to put him as a replacement to one of the Russians who've been the dominant team for the past year, don't also align him with Paul Jones' army of schlubs. Strange logic getting used there. I've got a note here. Tori says at one point you're looking at two fine junior heavyweights talking about Denny Brown and Nelson Royal. I'm thinking, yeah, Tony, but you left out that Nelson Royal was Abe Lincoln's first ever opponent.
Jesus.
And it must be that there must have been something in the water back in the day, because Nelson Royal at this point, I can confirm that Nelson Royal at this point was a couple months shy of his 50th birthday. He was 40.
Well, think about Johnny Weaver. Johnny Weaver was about the same around this time frame, and he looked like he was 82.
Yeah. So my note is, in true Jesse style, Nelson Royal was 49 at this point. 89, I'd buy.
Oh, God. Nelson Royal's the same age I am now. That's crazy.
No, Nelson Royal's much younger than that.
Oh, nice. I'm very offended by that statement. Okay.
Well, I can say you're wearing it much better. I can hand on heart say you're wearing it much better than Nelson Royal ever did. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't anything. You were never going to get a 5-star classic out of this. It did what it needed to do. So I've gone 1.75 again, because I didn't have much expectation. It didn't over or under. It didn't over or underwhelm. It just merely whelmed.
All right. Well, Dr. G, it looks like you and I were the high ones on that one. So some people just don't appreciate old school wrestling, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, different generations, I guess, right?
No, I know. I just like to give them hell. These little millennials. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding, guys. You know I love you. I'm just messing with you. All right. So we're moving on. So we get a Road Warriors promo, and they're out with Ellering babbling about an incident with the Russians that happened in Baltimore, and it must end in Baltimore. So I'm really confused to start because I have no idea what they're talking about. Then says he feels like he's going. Hawk goes, I feel like I'm going to blow. Really cocained out in his promo. He says, next time you'll have to deal with me. And he says that's good for him, but bad for the Russian. And then Ellering intros the video. Supposedly Hawk was injured, so it was Paul Ellering and Road Warrior Animal versus the Russians in Baltimore. I don't know who thought that would be a great substitute for Hawk, but in the video, Nikita hits Paul with a chain, and Ivan gets the 3. Then they beat up Paul with the chain. Ellering was carried out on a stretcher, and he said he couldn't feel his legs. And I also, again, another instance where I love where they use house shows for angles here. Animal says he felt Paul and Hawk's pain being hurt. They are family. We are going to kick the Russians' tail all over Baltimore. Then after that Midnight Express, we're coming for the belt. So pretty good Warriors promo here, selling we're going to Baltimore. And top of that, and then also talking about the Midnight Express and winning the belt. So Dr. G, I'll go to you first. What do you think of this? Wow, not a fan, huh?
It was okay. It's just. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't really. I had a tough time with this promo because you know how I am, how I feel about the Road Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. They looked weak in this promo. I don't know. I just. Like, the Road Warriors are not used to being the ones that are the underdogs. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I felt like the interview was portrayed.
Well, I kind of feel like they got around that by Ellering being injured. And I think that gave think about it, gave the Russians a win because I'm sure they don't have many wins over the Road Warriors at this point.
Right. No, that's true.
So, just a thought.
I mean, I guess that's, I'm looking through it with different eyes, you know. Probably at that time I loved it. But I was looking, I'm like, yeah, they kind of look like they're like the weak ones, you know? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like they're backing down from, you know, a team the size of Midnight Express. You know, it's the Russians, you know, they're big guys too. So, yeah, maybe I'm being harsh. I don't know.
Interesting. Colin, what did you think?
I thought this was all right. I mean, it's a typical Road Warriors, promo. Hawk, and again, we said it last time about guys needing maybe slightly more direction than go out and talk for 90 seconds, because Hawk just completely. I think he had a general point he wanted to make. We just kept getting lost. I don't know if it was the mountain of cocaine he probably had before he went out.
Probably a safe bet.
All was going well until they went down the classic Jim Crockett Promotions trope of making it homoerotic when he said he wanted to blow up right in the faces of the Russians. But I get the general point he was trying to make. Yeah, I don't see that. I don't know if starting off with Hawk was maybe the best thing to do. You need if you start with Ellering, you've got somebody who can sort of get the through line and keep everything on track. Like Hawk threw it over to Animal. Tell him Animal. He even hesitated there because I think he just didn't know where he was going next. And then Ellering interjected. So it was just, I mean, it's full of adrenaline, full of passion, and the thing you can't doubt that they can't doubt the intensity of it. But yeah, it just seemed to fall apart. I mean, it wasn't. Again, if you're watching that, you would probably be enticed into buying a ticket to go and see the Road Warriors and the Russians, but it just kind of the promo itself kind of just fell apart really quickly.
Interesting. Okay, Scott, what did you think?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, kind of like I must be missing something because I didn't think it was that bad. I think it sold a show in Baltimore. It showed the video of the incident. I don't know. I'm kind of perplexed a little bit. I'm shocked.
And like with Paul, I didn't think, because I know that he had tore his knee up, so that's why he stopped wrestling. I was shocked that he actually wrestled some, and they sold it more with him being temporarily paralyzed, and we saw Hawk did the talking at first, and then when it came back, Animals were talking, and it's like, we're gonna end you. And it made me want to see the match, see them to take out the Russians because of what they did to Paul.
So you liked it?
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, so definitely divided on that Road Warriors promo.
Wow, I guess I'm way off tonight, huh?
Well, Colin apparently too. Apparently, Colin wasn't feeling it either. Maybe Dr. G shitting on his Road Warriors tonight. I'm shocked.
It's very rare that you'll see that. So.
I know. That's why I'm shocked.
Yeah, I didn't not like it. I just think it was. I think we've seen better from them, and I think it just sort of fell apart. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it's certainly not the worst promo we've ever seen.
You know what else? They didn't really sell the Crockett Cup either. They basically talked about the Russians in Baltimore and then taking on the Midnight Express. They didn't really sell the Crockett Cup at all, considering who we all know wins the Crockett Cup. That was a little shocking too. I could definitely see that for sure. But interesting. Just very, very interesting. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the next promo. Ric Flair is out. And he asked Tony, what does $1 million look like? And then Tony just says, the world champion Ric Flair. Flair says when he beats Dusty at the Cup in front of 70,000, which is probably stretching it a bit, he will be tearing down the Hyatt Regency in New Orleans. And there's a lot of great camera shots to all the women in the crowd that look absolutely smitten with him, which I thought was a nice little added touch. And then he says, itty bitty Ricky Morton, and his only claim is teeny boppers in their training garments, and why Flair likes full sweaters, empty heads, and double Ds. Morton, great line. Morton crosses the line on crushing his Porsche sunglasses and tearing up my blazer. He's in a mess of trouble, and I will help you on a stretcher to the hospital. And then he says he has an open calendar in New Orleans all night long. Another just brilliant Flair promo. Callum, I'll go to you first. What do you think of this Flair promo?
Yes, typical Flair promo. Talking about his world class ability in the bed and his penchant for big titties, with a little, all important, little bit of wrestling sprinkled in. Everything about the promo, the thing that I got was everything about the promo was more centred around Ricky Morton, which the Dusty Rhodes, which I thought was very strange considering that their next big event that they're meant to be hyping up, or they are hyping up, is the Crockett Cup with he's facing Dusty in the main event. Mm-hmm. So it's almost, again, it's not. You could play it off that he's only facing Dusty at the behest of Bill Watts, who wanted to have this title match, but he gives Dusty a cursory glance every now and then. He gives him the occasional, oh, by the way, I'm facing you in a couple of weeks, but everything is focused on Ricky
Kind of
Morton.
feels like they're underselling this event that's coming up, right? A little bit, if you think about it, like they're underselling the cup. There's not like it should be.
I agree. That's you pretty much stole
that's the problem.
my response here. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, we love listening to Ric Flair, and he's great, but there was not. I didn't feel like he promoted anything except for how great he is in bed,
Well, it's the same with the Road Warriors promo and So basically, what it feels like is they have this big cup tournament coming up with all these different teams from different territories, but Crockett is just sticking to what they're booking on their TV, and it almost feels like a little bit that maybe the Crockett Cup is. It's something that's going to sell itself, and they're just going to move forward on what their long-term plan is after the Cup because they're not booking every team that's in that moving forward. Maybe that's what it is.
Could be, but that's not smart.
No, it's. I mean, I didn't say it's smart, but I do see where you guys could probably feel like that. Sorry, Colin, go ahead.
No, I was going to say. I mean, I get that, but I think that they're doing a really good. I think they're doing a good job of building up the tag teams themselves, because the tag teams are always the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express are always talking about.
But it's not specific. Yeah, but it's not like it's not in your face. I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't feel like it's in your face promotion, I guess I would say. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, I know. I completely get that. It's not as if like just now, we're at the time we're recording this, you're deep into WrestleMania season, and like they're battering you over the head. This is WrestleMania's coming. You're 60 days to WrestleMania. You're 50 days to WrestleMania. So it's not as you said, it's not as in your face, but the focus of it's the tag team, not necessarily the world title match. And I think it's an afterthought for Flair as Dusty Rhodes, and Morton's his thing. But to G's point, and it might be almost sacrilegious, and I might get sacked from the pod and possibly the whole network. I'm reaching my turning point. I am starting to get a bit. If you've heard one Ric Flair promo,
oh
my god!
No. Listen to no. I don't need to hear Ric Flair talk every single week. I think it's probably because we're watching them all really, really, really close together, and it's not a week apart. There's only so many times I can hear Ric Flair talk about how many girls he's fucked the night before and how many he's going to fuck that night.
You didn't like the line about full sweaters, empty heads, and double D's? That was a good line.
That's a good line. I'll give him. I'll to be fair, but Flair has had many a great promo. The intense shagging is ever so slightly starting to grate. However, it does not detract from the fact that this was brilliant.
Wow. Controversial. Dr. G, well, before I go to Scott, Dr. G, any thoughts on what Colin just said about Flair? That's just controversial to me.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. I understand somewhat what he's saying. Listen, I love Ric Flair. But I remember as a kid he would aggravate me just because you were like, okay, enough now. We know, okay, space, the whole thing, because he was the heel, and that's how. But I get what you're saying where maybe he shouldn't be on every single week because he is the champion and
I will tell you there's a reason why I've spread out Flair promos on this podcast. If you notice, he's not on every show. Part of that is because of what Colin just talked about, to be honest with you, because there is a certain amount of Flair that gets overload. So I also, even though I give a Colin shit, I
understand where Colin's coming from. Trust me, I love Ric Flair just as much as the next person, but sometimes it's like, all right, you're gonna come out and tell us about Space Mountain and like some things. But sometimes when he's fired up and he's really in the thick of a feud and they want him to really stick to that one feud, then he's phenomenal. When he starts freaking out and he gets like that's when Ric Flair is really into the storyline that he's at. But he's in so many feuds that sometimes I think that's why they keep his promos the way they are, because he's not going to mention every single guy that he's feuding with at the time, unless it's that big. But I feel like for this one, they should have really promoted his match with Dusty like they've done in the past with like Starcades. I do feel like they're taking this show for granted a little bit.
Wow. Boy, some interesting takes here tonight. Wow. Interesting perspective and thought-provoking, actually. So, I never really thought about it, but to Colin's point, I spread Flair out on these a little bit because you're right. There gets a point where his promos are the same, and then you watch it, and you're like, oh, sometimes you haven't had a Flair promo in a while. But so, Colin, you gave me something interesting to think about. It's shocking, but I don't necessarily know if that's a bad take. So, interesting. Scott, what did you think?
I loved it. Flair.
Well, yeah, but you like double D's and.
Who doesn't?
Go ahead.
I loved how he said where he was staying at New Orleans to get all the women to come. Just, you wonder why this man's been divorced 6 times. Mm-hmm. I like how he called out Morton, said how much he ruined his money, and said he was going to mess with Mother Nature. Tell Morton it was not nice to deal with Mother Nature. Flair was on his bullshit tonight, and it was wonderful. How dare you, Callum, besmirch the man's name.
Listen, I just gave Colin credit for giving us something to think about. I don't necessarily know if he's 100% wrong. I actually see where he's coming from after thinking through it.
You guys are just losing your minds.
I'm really not.
I'm not saying that Ric Flair is a bad promo. I'm not saying that Ric Flair is fucking Wahoo McDaniel. I'm just saying that if you're watching them all back to back, it's
And by the way, we've had those
slightly
moments. We've had those with Dusty promos too. By the way.
Yeah, you want to spread them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I like the way you're doing it, Sean, because you can get, believe it or not, Flair overload. Like whereas Arn Anderson's promos,
they're diverse.
They're diverse. They really are.
Yes.
And you don't realize how good he is. And I didn't, if you would have asked me this probably even 20 years ago, 10 years ago, I probably would have said Arn Anderson up there with Ric Flair. I would have told you you're on drugs. But because we're watching this so closely, Arn Anderson was really a great promo because he was very believable. Not that Flair isn't. Flair gives you that flair, for lack of a better word. He gives you that. And he's so entertaining. I mean, I could watch Ric Flair promos all day long. But in terms of from Callum's perspective is that I think probably what annoys us most is he's not really promoting what we want with the next big thing. I think it's just like, okay, here's Ric Flair just pretty much promoting himself, which is what he's about. But I think you want to see him promote more of, what feud he's in.
Well, also it was more house show business back then, so they might have been just doing Flair versus Morton on the house show tours for this week.
Right.
But they're built. No, this Morton thing's building into something pretty big though. Long term.
Oh, okay.
So they're actually building this up to be a match at the Bash. Like that's how. Like they're starting here in April, but it's a match that. Yeah. So we'll see more of that over the next couple months. But I listen. For me, I love talking this through because that's very interesting perspective. Not everybody's going to love everything. I mean, just because he's Ric Flair doesn't mean everybody's going to love Ric Flair. It's kind of like with Dusty. We've shit on Dusty promos here and there too. So it's very thought provoking. So Colin, I'm going to give you credit for bringing that up because it actually made me think through that a little bit. So
you're very welcome.
Very nice job. Nice job. Maybe you should be the host of this show. Maybe I should just fucking go to hell.
You line up the promos and I'll make very rash statements about how Ric Flair's not a good promo.
Yeah, you've been a little salty tonight. I'm feeling this. This is good dynamic. I enjoy this a lot, actually. All right, so we're gonna get more of Flair now. So that leads us to our TV title match. So we do get a TV title match: Arn Anderson versus Houston, which I feel like this is probably like the 100th TV title match that Sam Houston's got on his show. But Flair is still on commentary. And much to Colin's chagrin, he's still talking about women being a la carte all night long in New Orleans. and he invites Tony to it. By the way, that's still not a bad line. The women being a la carte, I think, is a great line. But, Arn and Sam both sent each other outside in exchanges. Flair says Sam's not quite there yet, but he will be great. So I do appreciate him putting Sam over. Arn hits a great shoulder block that spins Sam around, which I thought looked really good. Sam takes a shot to the groin on a botched leapfrog, but he no-sells it, and then he hit tosses and drop kicks Arn. Houston goes for the bulldog, but Arn pushes him off. Sam leads to the second rope and does a nice body press for one. Then Arn hotshots Sam on the top rope. Arn works Sam over, and it hits a nice spine buster that Rick at the time calls a double inverted power slam. There's a savage shove of Sam's head into the mat. Arn talks to Flair, who's outside, and then Sam gets a quick roll-up. But he misses a drop kick, and Arn hits a fantastic gourd buster for the 3. Sam has become quite the jobber. However, he could still go, and I still, in my head, cannot recollect a bad Sam Houston match, and of course, it's Arn as well. So I actually went 2 1/4 on this. I feel like Sam doesn't really have bad matches, and Arn can do no wrong in my eye. So, Colin, I will go to you first. What did you think of this match?
Yes, I also questioned how Sam was getting a TV title match. He just lost a regional title to Black Bart of all people, and now he's the top contender for a world championship. Which a point I wanted to make, and I think it was Flair on commentary. He was saying that Arn Anderson is a champion of the world. He might not be the world's heavyweight champion, but he is the world's television champion. And I remember they don't point that out enough, I think, for things like this. And Ricky Morton did it the previous episode as well. They're the world's tag team champions, or they have been world champions before. Steve Regal did it a lot when he was world TV champion, but it was not anything that they sort of highlight. It's another one of the small details that I like. And in fairness to Sam Houston, he is getting better every time we see him. I don't dread his matches now as I used to. And he's the perfect person to take the double A spinebuster. My short-term memory is awful. Did you mentioned the spinebuster, obviously, but is this the first time that we have seen the double A spinebuster?
And that's why I brought it up, because Rick calls it a double inverted power slam. So yes, I do think this is the first time we've seen the Arn spinebuster for sure.
To showcase it, I think Sam Houston's the best guy because there's not much to him, so it'll just look absolutely brutal when he hits it. And as does the Godbuster. I mean, Sam looked as if he actually face planted when he missed the drop kick, and then he gets a Godbuster for his troubles as well. It was just absolutely disgusting. So Sam is good for. Sam's getting better, but he's certainly really, really good for showing off these disgusting looking moves. So it was fine. I gave it a very, very middle of the road. I gave it 2.5. It wasn't.
No, you went higher than me. I went 2.25, so yeah, that's respectable. Sure.
Yeah, perfect. Perfectly in the middle of the spectrum there.
All right, Scott, what'd you think?
I really enjoyed this match.
I don't know, man. There's not about Sam Houston energy in matches, and in Arn Anderson, I don't know. I like Sam Houston. I don't know what's wrong with me. So.
And I like how they were like, Flair was putting him over as like a star on the rise and one to watch out for. It makes you think like, what the hell happened? I love how Flair also says that Arn is a thinking man's champion, which, shows how smart he is and everything. Then the Gourd Buster, I just love. I went 2 3/4. Like, I really enjoyed this match.
All right. Very nice. Dr. G, what'd you think?
You're right. Sam Houston could go. I mean, maybe not into his character, for lack of a better word. It's a word, I hate using that word, but it's just, I guess that's kind of the WWE got us using that kind of word.
Hey, by the way, there's got to be something to Sam Houston because Baby Doll chose him out of everybody else on that roster.
That is true.
There's got to be something to Sam Houston.
But he could go in there, and of course Arn. Come on, so I gave 2.5 stars. I enjoyed the match. I really do. I mean, yeah, you wonder, okay, why does he get a title match? But again, it's a good guy to put in the ring with Arn to showcase his skills, show that he's a champion that's always going to defend his championship. Nothing wrong with it, because you want to pump up the matches for him for the house shows. That listen, if this guy could almost beat him. Wow, what could our favorite wrestler that's gonna, whoever he wrestles, Ronnie Garvin or what have you, when they wrestle, wow, they have a shot at beating him for this championship. So I have no problem with the way this was booked, and you knew you were going to get a good match, which we did.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we continue on where more Flair. So pretty hot segment coming up here with Ricky Morton and Ric Flair. So the Rock and Roll Express come out for a match versus Ray Traylor and Carl Styles, and everyone knows who Ray Traylor is, right?
Big Boss Man.
No, not for the purposes of this podcast. He's not. Gollum?
You're right, the Guardian Angel.
No.
So it's Big Bubba, the one and only.
Gollum's on mute. Big Bubba Rogers. You will see, and actually, he will debut as Big Bubba Rogers in the next couple months. So I know, I think on our last episode, I think he took on Wahoo. We did not go over that one. But yeah, so this is Big Bubba. You know who Big Bubba is, right, Scott?
Of course I do. I was just being facetious.
All right. I mean, I don't know. You were born in what, 1990 something? I don't know what you know about Big Bubba.
1989.
All right. Well, that's still 3 years prior. We're still 3 years before you're born here. So I don't know what you know and don't know.
But I mean, understandable.
I love throwing you off. That's great. All right, so basically Flair comes out in his gear. So they're out for this match. Flair comes out in his gear, and he's got his belt on his waist. Rock and Roll Express drop kicks Traylor and Styles out, making them both look like little bitches, even though they're both like twice the size of them, which was funny. Flair wants Morton now. Flair hands Arn his belt, and we got a match. And Morton dominates a quick pace with a smack to face, sunset flits, backslides, headlocks, takedowns for multiple 2 counts. I mean, it's just freaking red hot. Morton continues to dominate with the more punches, hip tosses, does a flying head scissors, a drop kick, a Frankensteiner, and then says Flair outside. So this is just like a crazy amount of moves going on. Morton drops behind Flair in a suplex attempt and rolls him up for a pin. but he knocks Flair into the ref. Flair outside tosses Morton into the ring post. The crowd is absolutely unglued. Morton inside gets a small package, but there's no ref. Flair gets a body press, but Morton rolls through. Arn comes in, but Robert drop kicks him and counts 3 for Morton. Rock and Roll say peace out, and Flair is bleeding, and they are both stunned. Dusty and Baby Doll then join Rock and Roll at the podium. Dusty says, "This is what happens, Ric Flair, every time in the ring on his beeping ass." And then he says, Flair won't make it to New Orleans, tells Robert to get Ricky ready, as it will be Dusty versus Ricky for the title in New Orleans. Morton says he will beat Flair again and be new champ. And so, yeah, that's how it ends. And I'll be damned if Dusty doesn't always got to get his shit in. I think on our last episode, we talked about Dusty buttoning into other people's shit. And here is a prime example. And there's always legends and stories about Dusty. I think Cornette talked about it, how Dusty always wanted in on Rock and Roll shit because they were so popular and he couldn't handle how popular they were. So he always got in it with them so he could get some of that rub. But the angle, the match, I went 3 1/4. I could probably convince to go higher, but just a little bit of a taste of medicine, what we're going to see with Morton and Flair in the future. So, Dr. G, I'll go to you first. What'd you think?
I went 3 1/4 as well. These guys could go. I mean, Ricky Morton, if he was just a little bit better on the stick, he could have been a world champion because he could go with Flair. And Flair loved him. I mean, you hear any Flair interview, Morton is one of his top 3 or 4 opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, it's not like they wrestled a lot. It was during this period of time, but he just said he loved Morton's psychology, how he sold, how he was the true white meat baby face, as they call, as Stone Cold would always say, where he always was getting his butt kicked and you wanted to root for this guy. There'll be more matches with these guys, and that I'm sure we will see and will enjoy because and Morton just has such a quick pace. I mean, he could still go at his age now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it just shows you what he could do in the ring. And I enjoyed this match. It's a great match for a TV match. Think about this. We love this.
And this is just a taste. It's just a taste
of it. And it was kind of unexpected. So that was even the other thing. It wasn't really a promoted thing. So just to get that on television, remember, we were used to watching a lot of squash matches when we were younger. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's the great thing about this Saturday night show. Like, the Saturday night show on TBS just randomly would give you stuff like this that kept you, you might wait weeks and weeks at a time for something like this, but they would always throw something out at you at some point and you'd always get what you waited for. That's why I love the Saturday night show so much. So
me too.
All right, Colin, what did you think?
I thought this was excellent. Absolutely unbelievable. This was on free television, completely unannounced. I mean, it was unannounced as of 10 seconds before the match was even going to start.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that this would be like weeks in advance, heavily built up these days. But yeah, tune in at 6:05 on Saturday night, and you never know what you're going to see. This was excellent. I've gone 3.5 stars on it. I think the whole thing from start to finish was really good. From Flair first for coming out and just saying, like, I want a bit of Morton, to the whole thing right at the end. And it does go. We did mention that Dusty has to keep his finger in all the pies, but we also, I also put out that it might actually be quite good for Dusty to get involved every now and again, just to move things forward promo wise, because Ricky and Robert aren't the greatest, and they might need a bit of help getting their point across. It's stuck out like a bit like a sore, like a bit of a sore thumb this time, because they hadn't had interaction with Dusty in weeks. But if they had sort of sprinkled in a bit of Dusty here and there, then had this, it wouldn't look as strange. But that being said, the whole thing was brilliant. Robert Gibson's already a better referee than Tommy Young with that fear. I mean, it would be easy for Robert Gibson to come in and fast count Ricky there, but he didn't. It was a fair count. And you've got Ricky Morton, who's got two visual pinfalls over the champion. So yeah, this is just about. I was going to say it's just about in full gear, but it's certainly gone up another gear.
Absolutely. All right, Schiff, close it out.
Just amazing match. I mean, quote unquote match. I love the missile drop kick that we had that we talked about. I gave it 3 stars. Like everything worked with this. Flair made him look like $1 million and look like a true challenger.
I think Ricky Morton did a good job of making himself look like $1 million.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like Flair could have.
No, I get it. Flair sold like hell for this guy, but Morton, I think this is one of those rare cases where when we talked about Garvin and Flair back in December and how Flair made Garvin look like $1 million and a true contender. I feel like this is more equal ground between the two, where they both made each other look like $1 million. That's what I was trying to say.
Yes, I really loved it. 3 stars, and I messaged in our chat how much it pissed me off that Dusty had to come in there stealing Morton's thunder.
Yeah, but I think again, Colin brought up a good point about Morton's not the greatest promo, so he's got a little bit of that Dusty rep. Now I do think it was utterly absurd to say it was going to be Dusty and Morton at the Cup, which honestly probably would have been pretty damn funny, but I thought that was a little ludicrous. That was never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, but Dusty just has to get in there, but I wonder if if we're thinking of Lee's time, if they would have done like a 3-way or something. That's probably what they would have done.
Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot of triple threats back then at all, so I don't think they did any. I think
it was more of a mid 2000s ECW created it. Mid 90s ECW.
I mean, they might have had 3-ways, but it wasn't in the wrestling ring in 80s Crockett.
Yeah, I'm sure Flair was party to many of those.
Yeah. So that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So that ends the show proper. So kind of some hot matches tonight on April 12th. We went from Ole in Japan to 6-man title match to Arn Houston to end it with Morton versus Flair. So pretty hot day here on April 12th. So we're going to go to our last 2 matches of the night. And these are both Crockett Cup Spotlights. So the first one we're going to look at is a really random team that I guess I didn't remember was in the Cup. Actually, all 4 of these participants are in the Cup in different teams. So first up, it is Buzz Sawyer and Rick Steiner. And we all remember Buzz Sawyer from the early days of our podcast, where I was a fan, but I think Dr. G, I know, clearly wasn't a fan, but I always liked Buzz Sawyer and Rick Steiner, and they seem to go well in hand with each other, if you ask me. I mean, they seem like they would be a natural pairing. And Buzz Sawyer is actually the UWF TV champion at this time, too, so Sawyer's been doing pretty well in the UWF, so good for him. They are taking on Chavo Guerrero and DJ Peterson, and Chavo is in the Cup with Hector, so the Guerreros, and DJ Peterson, I want to say, is teaming up with another pod favorite, Brett Sawyer. I assume you all remember Brett Sawyer, Buzz's brother, the guy who the I promo. I think we all remember that legendary promo, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So all 4 of these are, and by the way, also, so Sawyer's a TV champion. DJ Peterson in the late 80s AWA, they tried to make him the Magnum TA of the AWA. He's actually he actually won the tag team titles with the Trooper, who would later go on to be the Patriot in the WWF in '97. So a lot of history just with these guys right here. So anyway, so Steiner is also billed as Sawyer's protege. So to start, Peterson looks great on face shine, sending Buzz going crazy. So Buzz is selling like a champ between the ropes outside on a drop kick. So he does this drop kick, and Buzz sells it like a madman. It just sends him like right through the ropes. Faces take turns tagging in on the working over the heel's arm. Sawyer misses a charge on Chavo and hits the post. There's more face work on Buzz's arm. Steiner grabs Chavo hair as he hits the rope, and then heels take over from there, working over Chavo Guerrero. Lots of power moves, but Chavo gets a tag. All 4 end up in the ring. Peterson gets a backbreaker to Steiner. The ref pushes Chavo back to the corner. Buzz goes up top, but Chavo runs over and pushes him off across the ring. Chavo goes up to the top, splashes Steiner. Peterson on top for the 3. So kind of a big win here for Chavo and Peterson. Buzz grabs the mic, writes about cheating, and wants Chavo one-on-one. They stiff each other until Steiner runs back in, as Peterson had already gone to the dressing room. Heels toss Chavo over the top rope, and we have another chain hanging tonight. So I thought that was a great visual. There's a really great visual as both heels like pulled from different angles on Chavo, or as he's hanging outside the rope. So I thought that looked pretty good. Finally, Peterson runs in to save Chavo. Thought it was a fun little tag, and again, a fun little after angle. I went 2.5 on this. Colin, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Again, another just middle of the spectrum type match.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good showcase for all involved. The Buzz Sawyer just bumps like a madman through the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't get Dr. G not liking Buzz Sawyer. I've always been a Buzz Sawyer fan. There's something about him that just resonates. I don't know. I agree with you.
Yeah, I've liked him from what I've seen on it. I mean, he dove seemingly halfway across the ring to have a shoulder to the ring post late on in the match. Right at the very start, he takes a wicked bump off of
that drop kick.
Off the drop kick.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
Now, how he landed on the apron is amazing control and a miracle at the same time, because he misses those ropes. He's binning it right onto the floor. I mean, that would just be horrific. So yeah, I mean, it was he was making sure he was remembered in this match. Again, nitpicking again, but bad refereeing again. That's the real global pandemic, because it's spread across the country. It all breaks down and the ref does nothing. 4 men in the ring, the ref does nothing. Then as a man is being covered, he's distracted by Guerrero, and then ignores the pin that's still happening on the floor. This has been 10 seconds now. He's ignoring the pin that's happening in the middle of the ring and starts counting Sawyer on the rope. Just awful stuff. Judgment calls were made, and judgment calls were made incorrectly. But yeah, again, the post-match, the post-match hanging spot was excellent, and the visual having both of them, and then there's like guys coming around to try and like pull them off, like pull the chains down, but also if you're pulling the guy downwards, just choking him more. It was wild at the end. It was just excellent. So 2.5 for the match, but I think a lot higher for the whole presentation, for the whole package.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. I was shocked how much I enjoyed this. Dr. G, what did you think?
I went 2.5 as well. I actually enjoyed the aftermatch, and Buzz Sawyer did bump pretty well, I have to say. Mm-hmm. It's probably because I know much more about him personally. It's probably
he's not a good human being by any stretch. Right. I just think I like him.
He was a maniac. He was. Yeah. He's kind of. He definitely could have been. He might have been at one time. He definitely could have been with like Kevin Sullivan, like one of those deranged.
He was. He was. He was in the 90s. He was part of Sullivan's Slaughterhouse in the 90s. Yeah.
Okay, that's when it was. I couldn't remember. But anyway, I thought, and then look how different Scott Steiner looked then, right? He's still a big guy.
Yeah, Rick Steiner, looked different. Yep.
I mean, it was the match was pretty good, but I sometimes you have to put the whole thing in, and when you add the ending with the hanging and the aftermatch stuff, I kind of include that in there. That brought me over 2.5 stars. I probably would have went 2 stars on the actual just match itself, but I gave that extra half star due to the to the aftermatch stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. And Scott, what'd you think of this?
I wasn't the biggest fan of Peterson. I kind of thought he sucked and brought the match down. That's why I'm only going 2. I will say that Rick had a nice power slam that I liked. And I liked the match at the end where they're just beating down Chavo. But yeah, just 2 for me. I'm sorry,
Chef,
Sean.
I'm gonna pick a DJ Peterson match from the AWA for you to watch on YouTube Roulette next time I have my pick.
Oh God, please don't.
Oh no, I'm gonna remember this. You've been shitting on a lot of stuff tonight, my friend.
I know, I really have.
right. Okay. But yeah. So, anyways, all four of these guys will be in the cup. So, we will see them soon as we get to our Crockett Cup episodes in a few episodes. Our next Crockett Cup Spotlight. Well, once again, we have the sheep herders, but that's not who we're spotlighting tonight. Who we're spotlighting is Terry Taylor and Steve Williams. So a few episodes back, the sheep herders, like we talked about, beat DiBiase and Williams for the tag belts. Well, DiBiase supposedly got injured, but he's actually in Japan on a tour of Japan, so he can't be in the Crockett Cup. So Taylor will be taking a spot. So this is actually from our favorite place, guys. I believe this match is in Houston. And so it is Williams and Taylor versus the sheep herders. So this match was literally 5 days after the sheep herders lost to the Fantastics in the match we talked about on our last episode. And just kind of showing there's a really good hot tag division in the UWF. This is a no DQ match. Sheep herders out with Jack Victory and Lady Maxine, who basically looks like Baby Doll and Metal Gear and a mohawk. The faces come out to Born in the USA, and we have a full-on fight. Faces send heels outside as Williams grabs the mic and chants USA. More of all four brawling, but the sheep herders get the upper hand and get a lot of double teaming. I liked every time that the faces got the upper hand, one sheep herder would take his guy down and then they would run over and double team the other face. I thought it was really good heel tag work. I thought the simple strategy was really good. Luke hits the Dr. Death with chair while Butch beats up on Taylor outside. Luke wins a battle for the chair inside, but Dr. Death drops down in the corner and avoids a chair shot. Doc gets a headbutt, but Luke gets the chair again and nails Doc for a 2 count. Faces start hawking up to the crowd of the USA chants. Taylor and Doc take turns throwing both sheep herders into the ropes and stiff Doc's shoulder blocks. So I really love the shoulder blocks that Williams kept hitting as Taylor threw him into them. They go for one more, but Luke pulls the rope down and Doc falls outside. Taylor gets beat down by both sheep herders. Dr. Death back in and slams Victory into the ring. Terry Taylor rolls up Butch as the ref is distracted with Victory. Maxine actually whips Taylor from outside. He goes after, and Butch and Victory clobber Taylor from behind with a flag clothesline. And Butch gets the 3 count for the sheep herders, and the sheep herders win. I thought this was a really great brawl. It was a hot crowd, and I thought it was pretty stiff. I went 3 1/4 on this. Scott, what did you think of this match?
I thought this was great. These guys were beating the hell out of each other. Just everyone battling. I didn't know who Lady Maxine was. I thought she looked like an extra from Mad Max.
That's kind of the theme there. Yeah.
Yeah. I love Dr. Death just shoulder blocking everyone, hitting them with shoulder blocks. I thought it was awesome. Of course, Taylor loses because he sucks. But, I'm not really the biggest Dr. Death fan, but the past couple matches we've seen with him, like I can see.
How do you not like Dr. Death?
I just, I don't know.
Oh my God, Shipley.
It might be something
you tonight. I don't know what's wrong with you tonight. But
I know, but
He's feisty.
It's not feisty. He's just shitting on some pretty great. Anyway,
I'm not shitting. I just said I'm not the biggest, but I'm with 3 stars for this. I really love this. This was chaos and nice brawl. And you brought up a good point. Like every time the good guys would get, start getting something good on their end, the sheep herders would like just go attack, or Jack Victory would come and hit someone with the flag. I thought it was great.
All right, Colin McDougall, what'd you think?
This is another match I didn't take any notes for. I was just mesmerized by it.
By the way, sorry, Colin. Scott, if you were to shit on anybody, I would assume it would have been Terry Taylor because everybody shits on Terry Taylor. Okay, sorry.
I did. I said, of course he lost because he sucks.
Oh, well, yeah, but I know sold that because the Dr. Death comment. Go ahead, Colin. I apologize.
That's okay. I don't have any notes, but I've got 2. Excuse me. This is wild. And the fans have been nuclear for this whole thing, and you can tell they're getting into it by the fact the ring announcer has to tell them to get back to their seats.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't deter one guy with the American flag who was parading around ringside proudly with his flag. You can see him go right in front of the hard camera at one point to negate Jack Victory on the outside. Now, this was right up my alley. This was just chaos from start to finish. I went 3.5 on it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Again, going by the metric of the less notes I write, the better the match is. Having 2, it just shows you how enjoyable this was. And they fit a lot in the time that they had. Yeah, it was just. I thought it was fantastic. This is the sheep herders that I've always heard about.
Yeah.
Pre-bushwhackers. And yeah, I get it now.
Yeah, who would have thought that on NWA Crock and Roll podcast we would learn to grow and love the sheep herders. So thank God for the Crockett Cup, because that's really what it's done for us here. But yeah, I'm a big sheep herders guy too. Dr. G, what'd you think of this match?
I went 3 on it. I like all you guys. I just enjoyed the match. Dr. Death, yeah. I mean, there's some matches obviously I've seen of his that are not great, but he was really. I love that he was like tackling everybody. That he's just a mean animal. That's the way he should be portrayed anyway. And the sheep herders. What could you say about the sheep herders, right? I mean, for the most part, during this period of time, they were. It's so different when you see them in WWE, but they were really good. They could go in the ring. Like I said, if you need them to brawl, they'll brawl. If you need them to wrestle a team, that's a little more scientific, they could go with them as well. So, and the crowd was hot for this match.
Mm-hmm.
And
they sure were.
Yeah, Terry Taylor. You know what it is? Again, it's not that Terry Taylor is a really horrendous wrestler. It's just that you just can't stand him. I don't think I've heard anybody speak kindly of him. When you listen to other podcasts and stuff, he just seems like he's just not a good guy.
Yeah, we'll get a lot of. I mean, obviously, the big Taylor thing we'll start seeing is in '87 when we get the Crockett buyout. So we'll see a lot of him.
Even though I personally admire him, and in fact, I think he has like kids with special needs that are, I think they're like adults now that he takes care of. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like his backstage politics and things like that, that's the stuff I don't care for. And he just wasn't, again, another guy that really wasn't great on the mic, but, could go in the ring, just a mid-card guy. He was never going to be much more than that.
Yeah, so here's what I learned about this match. Everybody likes the sheep herders. Scott doesn't like Dr. Death. Dr. G thinks Dr. Death is a good hand. And Terry Taylor, everybody hates. That's my takeaway from this match. So Dr. G didn't outright.
He's a little better than a good hand.
Dr. G didn't outright hate Dr. Death like Scott did, but he outright just pretty much said he's a good hand. I caught that. That was the in-between. He just didn't say it. So, wow. I'm telling you what, man. Last 2 episodes of this podcast have had some freaking interesting takes. I love it, though. I just love that it's all different. And Scott, we'll have to reevaluate your contract after this podcast tonight. So at any rate, that is the end of the show. So we will do our end of show awards. So first up, we didn't have a lot of them, but the David Crockett, well, I guess we did, but the David Crockett award for moment of the night. I am going to go with the surprise Morton Flair match. I thought that was awesome. Scott, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. Definitely seems like that. Like it caught everyone by surprise. I love how it felt like it was off the cuff.
All right, Dr. G.
Make it 3 for 3.
All right, Colin.
Yep, that's a clean sweep.
Okay, the Arn Anderson promo award. I am going to go with Tully Blanchard's promo on his rules around clothes. I just thought that was a really good sell for where we're going with the Garvin stuff. So, Colin, what did you think?
Yeah, Tully for me as well.
Okay, G.
I would have really laughed if he would have said Ric Flair.
I did not. Well, I almost did because I really did like the line about the double D's, but
no, but I know I would have said if Callum would have went with Ric Flair, I would have cracked up.
I was tempted to give it a joke vote.
I got to go with Tully though. Tully, that was a great way to start this show for us. So yeah, I enjoyed that promo a lot.
All right, Scott.
I just want to smack him in the mouth.
Yeah.
Woo! Ric Flair.
Oh my. Okay, Ric Flair it is. Well, of course. I mean, it's got boobs in it.
I mean, you can't really argue with it, but
no. But Scott's a boob man, so I kind of knew where that was going to go with that. So that's perfectly
and nothing wrong with that. No, there's definitely
absolutely nothing wrong with that. The match of the night. I call it the Dusty Leg angle. I'm sorry, the angle of the night, not the match of the night. The angle of the night, obviously, I mean, it's got to be Morton versus Flair again for me. Colin?
Yeah, I think it has to be.
Okay. G?
3 for 3.
Scott?
4 for 4.
All right. the Jimmy Valiant Worst Match Award, that is going to go to, I think, just by hook or by crook, it's got to go to the 6-man title match. Scott?
Yeah, that match was garbage. So There we go.
Colin?
I don't think it was garbage, but it certainly is the worst of the night.
All right, Dr. G?
Yeah, I mean, there was so many other good stuff on here. Unfortunately, that's just, I mean, like I said, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it definitely didn't match up with some of these other matches. So we'll have to go with that match.
All right, the Magnum TA best match. This one's tough. I really liked the last one we watched, but I'm going to have to go with, you know what? I could always tie this. I'm going to go with Morton versus Flair and Taylor versus Sheepherders. Colin?
I'm going to go Sheepherders against Team UWF.
Okay.
Ooh.
G?
I'm gonna go with Flair Morton. I really enjoyed that match just a little bit more.
Okay, Scott?
It hurts me because you've been mean to me the whole time, but I'm going to have to agree with you with time.
I haven't been mean to you. I'm just calling you out on some takes.
You saying that my contract may not be renewed.
Now he's gonna go cry after this. Himself to sleep
who
now,
was the
see?
horse? Was there a horseman after Paul Roma? Which one am I get him? I get him Malenko?
Jeff Jarrett.
I get my no. I mean, it has to be Malenko or Benoit. I can't be, Scott, I'm not going to re-sign your contract. Part of the reason why I have you on here is because you're going to give those takes that are going to challenge me, and I know that's why you're on here, because I know you're going to just call it as you see it. So I'm good with that.
Thank you. Yes.
But I love calling you out because you don't know how to react, and that's one of my favorite moments of doing this show sometimes. With Colin, if I call him out, I know exactly what I'm going to get. G, I just ride the line sometimes, and you, I just know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get uncomfortable silence, and I'm just going to move on, and you're going to take it because that's what you do. So I appreciate all of you in those aspects, by the way. The Wahoo LVP Award. I am going to go with Baron Von Raschke. I will go over. Baron Von Raschke for me. Scott.
I'm going to go with. God, this is hard.
Not real hard. It's in that 6-man match.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nelson Royal looking like he's 65 years old.
You're going to go with Nelson Royal over Baron Von Raschke?
Yeah, I am.
Jesus.
Look like Father Time was in the ring.
Right, I'm done with you, Colin.
Yeah, I'm going with Baron as well, just purely for the fact that he's straddling between this. I am the tag team partner of this monster team, and I am in the background of the misfits that are associated with Paul Jones.
All right, Dr. G, LVP.
I agree. It's got to be Baron. He just didn't belong there.
I agree. All right, and last but not least, our Ric Flair MVP. This is tough because there's a wide variety of things in here. You know what? I'm going to say Ricky Morton because I thought Ricky Morton. I'm going with Ricky Morton because he brought it. Like, it wasn't Flair making him look good. They made each other look good. So I'm going with Ricky Morton. Scott?
That's who I was going to say was Ricky Morton. And
that's okay. Like, you're allowed to agree with me sometimes.
No, I know it's like we agree, and then it's like we're polar opposites.
Yeah. Dr. G?
You have to go Ricky Morton in this one. He really he went toe-to-toe with the champ. So you have to I can't think of anybody else really. I mean, there was such action packed in this show but that one I think stands out above the rest.
All right, and Callum McDougall.
But I think it's after everything we've discussed on this show. I think it has to be Rick E. Morton from me.
Okay.
Well.
All right. So yeah, good big night for Ricky Morton tonight. So I look forward to see where that leads us to. So that ends tonight's episode. So that ends April Part 2. On our next episode, April Part 3, we actually have more from the April 12th. We'll actually go to a house show in Charlotte where we have a strap match, a TV title match, and we have another U.S. title match between TA and Nikita. We have a Jimmy Garvin match we'll talk about. We have a 6-man match. My big look forward to is, guys, on our next episode, we have an Arn Anderson versus Manny Fernandez TV title match. And you know why that's so significant, guys? Dr. G or Colin, you should know that more than anybody.
Because it's the first time we've seen Manny in about 3.5 years.
That's one, but there's an even bigger piece to it. What was the very first match we ever watched and talked about on this podcast?
Oh, geez,
it was Arn Anderson versus Manny Fernandez. So,
wow, that's right, it was.
And this match takes place literally almost a year after that match. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I know that's a long time to remember, but it was that whole angle where Ole turned on Thunder. Remember, that was the whole Anderson's getting together angle. So we get to talk about that.
Wow.
Yeah, so Arn versus him in a TV title match. So see, I'm a historian. I remember these things. So anyway, but yeah, really good stuff tonight. I think the last 2 episodes have had some really banger out matches. We've talked really good about some of our Crockett teams. We'll have 2 more Crockett spotlights on our next episode, and then the episode after next is where we'll start the Crockett Cup, and we'll start talking about round 1. So as you can see, April is just jam freaking packed. So with that, I will go to Dr. G. Anything you would like to plug for tonight?
Yes, you can listen to me and the Podfather himself, Scott Criscolo, on the NWA Saturday Special. Drops every Saturday morning, most weeks, unless our schedules get crazy. Then you'll have the Sunday Special. But we break down the current NWA, and things are heating up just like they are back here in 1986 with the Crockett Cup coming up on March 19th and the 20th, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
And you can reach me at Dr. GPTB, by the way.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I can be found on Twitter at Scott_Shiflett. You can also catch me on PTB and YouTube Roulette with Sean, Logan, Matt Susan, and Jake Williams. It's where we do like Mystery Science Theater 3000 with wrestling matches. It's awesome. Pop Goes to the Couch. We are coming back for Moon Knight. So that's also fun. That's with Tim, Sean, and Andy Atherton. Battlestar in the 25th Century with Sean, and PTB and Pedestal, which is a pretty fun show. And yeah, that's it. Everyone's just doing great work across all the podcasts as well.
All right, Scott, I hope you enjoyed your run on NWA Crock and Roll. We've enjoyed having you.
Thank you so much. I appreciated my time here.
Colin.
You can hear my voice on the Special Relations every month with my fellow chaps from this side of the pond, Ben and Rory. I am also one of the contributing voices on PTBN's Pedestal, and I'll be on a couple of episodes of that in the next coming months. And if you could please follow all the live streaming video content type places, twitch.tv/PlaceTVNation, PlaceTVNation, all one word, on YouTube, PTBN Live on Facebook, and at PTBN YouTube on Twitter. If you use any of them, it would be greatly appreciated if you could follow, subscribe, whatever the terminology is on there. We've just done, at the time you hear this, we'll have just done 2 nights of the Crockett Cup, and we are on the road to WrestleMania. If we can piece together enough of a home crew to do those 2 nights.
I think you'll be able to find enough people to do that. I mean, last year you did when WrestleMania. By the way, last year's WrestleMania with the live call-in, so hint, hint, maybe you'll get another happening with that this year.
Quite possibly, because it'll need to be. Well, I don't actually know who's going to. I don't know who's going. So then I also don't know. At the flip side of that, I don't know who's not going.
I will tell you, somebody who's the host of this podcast will be going, so you might, get a call-in from me like you did last year.
Quite possibly. And for every 2 count, once again.
Yeah, we'll see if we can relive that magic. We'll see. As for me, you can find me on Twitter at NWA Crock and Roll. A lot of pods. Like I said, I'm kind of here and there in terms of the pods right now, just to do some real life. So obviously this one is one I cherish greatly, so I will try to be on as much as I can. If not, of course, Colin and the guys can handle it without me, because Colin did such an amazing job hosting back in March. But I do plan on my goal is at minimal to try to get through the rest of these April episodes so we can talk about Crockett Cup as a group. So with that, I am Sean Kidd. He is Dr. G and Colin McDougall, and the maybe departing Scott Shiflett, but to be determined after this episode. We will see you next time on NWA Crock and Roll.